Welcome to Power Lunch Live. I'm Rhett Power, your host. It's good to be with you here on Tuesday. We're almost into July, which is incredible. What a weird 2020 it's been so far. Now, the point of Power Lunch Live is to bring you today's thought leaders, best-selling authors, people who are doing amazing work in the world who we can learn from. Today is no exception. We're going to have Judith DeFeo on. We're going to talk about small business accounting in times of crisis. I think that's a really relevant topic since a lot of us are dealing with new realities and new issues. And so that's our conversation today. Now, we are live on LinkedIn, of course. We're also live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and a couple other platforms. The fun part about that is that we can be interactive. So if you have questions, please do ask of our guest. That's why they're here. So if you have burning questions that you want to ask, please do get on the keyboard and type those questions. We monitor those feeds during the program, and so that we can obviously get to what you want to ask. So as I said, Judith DeFeo is with us today. She's got 20 years plus years in the financial industry. She founded JADDE, which is a financial solutions company, in 2005. Before that, she was with Goldman Sachs. She was a vice president in their global Treasury and banking division, and she is an accounting expert, and that's why we have her on today. Judith, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Rhett. Thanks so much for having me on. Happy to be here.
Well, it's this topic is I think very important. A lot of businesses are struggling as they try to cope with a bunch of a new reality in a lot of ways. What challenges are you seeing from your clients? What are they having right now? What kind of challenges are they facing in terms of COVID and maybe even the social and the racial injustice issues that we're facing? How has that impacted their businesses, and what are they facing?
Yeah, there's so many challenges they're facing over the last few months, obviously, because of COVID. Cash flow is a big issue, a very big concern for many clients. We have not every business was affected negatively, but for those that were, some completely were out of business, no revenue at all for a few months. They're just starting to get back slowly, but it's not at full capacity. So they received this loan that initially, the PPP loan, was really for 10 weeks of payroll. But if they're just getting back now, they've had to either lay off people, keep them on at some capacity. They can't go full force. That money is not going to last very long. So then what? Now they may have got the other loan, the EIDL loan, but again, how long is that going to last? How long can they be in business at partial capacity? It's a huge concern.
So what, you talked about cash flow there a little bit. Are there some tricks up your sleeve that you might suggest, ways that you can really get the most of or minimize that cash flow issue right now? Are there some things that you would recommend to businesses on ways to sort of maybe try to, I don't know how you're going to say it, lessen the blow there, or?
Yeah, it's a domino effect for many people, obviously. So, we've been monitoring our clients' cash flow very closely. So in the past, where we may have just worked on that on a monthly basis, we have clients now that we are working on cash flow with them weekly because it's that critical. Some of them laugh and say, can we do this every day? And for some, that's legitimate. But what they do, this is the time they really have to take a look at their expenses. Go to your landlord, see if you can reduce it or defer it. Even if you can't get it reduced partially, can you defer it for some time? There's some payroll taxes that can be deferred. Take advantage of that. Take advantage of what's in the CARES Act. But really it boils down to your expenses. I don't want to say borrow from somewhere else, because you're borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, and it just becomes a vicious cycle. So look at your expenses first, and where can you cut?
Okay. And so what are some of the where are some of the places besides that? Is it like inventory control, or I mean,
So
what are some things like that? If you've got old inventory that's sitting there.
move it to the front. So we do have quite a bit of manufacturing clients, so we are working with inventory, and that is a really good point. If you have old inventory sitting there, you've got to move that out, to the front. If you want, some people have these automated inventory replenishment. You have to stop that and look. Don't just keep ordering 10 boxes of something because that's what you've done in the past. So we're looking at the cost of goods, we're looking at the expense, what people are buying very, very closely, to say we have to change behaviors now. What worked 6 months ago doesn't work right now. We have to look and we have to change. And it could be inventory, it could be, as I said, rent, it could be phone, subscriptions. This is a place we find a lot of wasteful money. Everything is subscription based. Every software is subscription based. You sign up for something, may only be $10 a month, but you're not using it. You forgot about it because you don't look at your credit card bill, because it's 12 pages long, and it's filled with all the $20, $30, $10.
It adds up.
It adds up. We had a client, and I'm not saying to donate. I love to donate to certain causes, but we had a client who I don't even know if she knew what she was donating towards every month, and not big amounts, but it adds up. $10 here, $15 here, and stop it now. You can't, you have to look closely. What are the necessities? What are what we call keep the lights on expenses? That has to come first, along with your people. We have to keep our people happy and employed.
That makes a lot of sense to me. You're right, because we automate our lives now, right? We, even from our personal bills on down, it's all automatic. And if you don't stop it, that seems to me like a great advice, is just stop all your automatic payments right now. And look at each individual charge.
Absolutely. And we all like to have some extra treats, let's say, in the office for our employees. Well, maybe even that's an area. Can you cut back a little bit? I'm not saying not to give your employees. I like to feed mine too. But, so you could pull back a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It doesn't mean it's going to stay like that forever. But everybody understands, and everybody is pitching in to do their best.
So aside from, we all know about the federal assistance stuff, and whether you got it or not, that's another question. But are there going to be, I know you're listening to what's going on in Congress and legislatively, probably at the state level and at all the other levels. Are there going to be any tax breaks or things that you think are going to be out there for us to sort of help soften the blow from COVID and from the things that we've suffered from in the last couple of months? Are there going to be some tax breaks, something to take advantage of, you think?
That's a great question. So, these bills, the CARES Act and the PPP and, the EIDL and just, the refunds not the refunds, but the $1,200 that everybody got within the last few months. They are talking about another round of that. I don't think it's over. The government has put out some really good, how do I put this? The bills that they have put out have very good intentions. They have intentions to keep people employed. They have intentions to keep businesses going and to put food on the table of people who have been unemployed, and to give more money to people who are unemployed, that extra $600 a month.
Hey, Judith, I lost you. You're in the middle of the, if you could scoot over a little bit,
Oh,
get you in the camera. There we go.
okay. Sorry.
That's all right.
So the bills that have been put out have had all good intentions. The problem is the rollout of them and the implementation. So, we talk about, well, what's coming down the pipe. Every day it changes. So they put this bill out and it's meant to do X, Y, and Z, but the implementation is not clear and the guidelines are not clear. So it becomes difficult to answer that question because it's a moving target. But there is talk about having more funds available for individuals, more funds available for businesses, other tax breaks. There are some payroll tax breaks that they are talking about. There are payroll deferrals that they are talking about. It's not over yet. There's going to be more down the pipe. We just don't know what exactly it's going to be. But they are trying to help people stay afloat.
Okay. And what happens at the state level? You think there will be some state initiatives as well?
I don't think the states really know what to do. So I know some states have been better about giving out the unemployment than others, but each of the states, I shouldn't say each, but many of the states have had their own grants. I have had clients apply at the state level for grants.
Mhm.
They haven't been big, $1,000 here or there, but it's something. So
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
encourage everybody to check with the state what grants are there. Some companies have given out grants as well.
Okay. So the bottom line to that question is really keep on your accountant, keep looking at what's happening.
Google it. Just Google it. Call it's hard to get, I shouldn't say call your state office because it's hard to get in touch with people there. They're not all there. But if you Google it and you go onto your state website, you will see if there's any grants out there. And I encourage everybody to do that.
Okay. And talk about working with your clients and negotiating things like new rents and new lease, or how some of your clients are doing that and what they're asking for. How are they doing that? How are they approaching that?
So, landlords are the first stop because if you think about a business, what are the two biggest expenses? They're your payroll and they're typically your rent. It could be inventory, but that's a different story. So payroll, we know we're working with. Rent, go to your landlords. So some of the things that I'm seeing are landlords coming back and deferring it for a few months. I have had landlords come back and outright cut it for a few months. Some have come back and said, okay, 50% until the state goes back. And I've unfortunately had clients, that landlords who have said no to everything. No,
Right.
they're not budging on a penny. But many have had them deferred, at minimum deferred for a few months.
Or maybe even adding on to the end of the lease and just adding.
Yeah, I mean, you have to pay it later, but if they're a business that has been out and zero work, they don't have the money coming in.
Right. Right.
So that's been a big savings and a big help. They know that they're going to have to pay it back at some point, but
Right. Do you think, from your experience, even if you go to your vendors right now and say, look, can I have another extra 90 days on the previous?
Mhm.
I mean, you've got to do that too, don't you? You've kind of got to go to
go to your credit card companies are working with people, mortgage companies are working with people, the banks are working, with individuals. It's really a case-by-case business. Look, if you have missed payments in the past, if you've been late, you can't expect them to roll out the red carpet. But if you've been a good customer and you've always made your payments on time and you have just fallen on hard times now, as many have had, you have to ask because people are willing to help.
I want to change the tone a little bit. We've been talking about companies that are struggling. I have some clients that are doing really, really well right now and have actually kind of exploded.
Yes, some have.
And so that brings us another set of challenges. What for companies who are really doing well right now and they sort of have changed their business model maybe and the whole unexpected avenue of business has sort of appeared. What things when you ramp up like that, when you scale up, what are some of the things that people have to watch out for and be careful for in terms of accounting and books and all that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So we have a couple of clients who, when COVID first started, e-commerce, clients who were selling on e-commerce. Think about food. Selling food item on e-commerce, they exploded because people were not going to the store and they were ordering online for the first time. People who never even ordered food online were ordering food online now. So they exploded. You can't spend all of that money. You can't go hire 3 new people because of that, because you don't know that it's going to last. Eventually, people are going back to the grocery stores, and there's no lines anymore at the grocery stores. You can get in, get all the food that you need. I shouldn't say all the food because I do notice some of the shelves are still a little bit empty. But you have to be careful that you don't think that, we hope that that's going to last, but it doesn't mean it will be. So you still have to be cautious about your spend there. Don't ramp up on too much inventory either, because it may just sit on your shelf.
Okay, so be cautious. Be
cautious. Listen, if it's not temporary and it continues with that, that's wonderful. It's a great time to do marketing. We've seen our clients who provide marketing services. I thought that they were going to suffer, but they're not. People are spending money on marketing now more than ever. They need to get the word out.
Yeah, smart.
So that's a good place to spend your dollars now.
So you've got a book, the 10 biggest money leaks in your accounting system. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's not really a book. It's more of a pamphlet. But there's just some tips that we suggest. So just kind of going down that list, just going from memory now. So one of them is just, make sure if you're a business, and even if you're an individual, make sure you're reconciling all your bank accounts every month. Not just bank accounts, but anything that sits on the balance sheet should be reconciled, whether it's a credit card account, a loan account, a liability account. When you reconcile your accounts, you're tying up all the loose ends throughout the month. You're making sure that everything you posted into your accounting system is correct. That's where you're going to find the errors. If you didn't post something into your accounting system and then you're running reports, it's bad data. So it's garbage in, garbage out. So you must reconcile every month. You also want to look at, we spoke about cash. You want to look at your cash. And now, you do want to look at it daily. Look at your bank account. It takes 2 seconds to log in every day. There's a lot of fraud out there. That's another reason. I get up in the morning and one of the first things I do is log into my bank account and log into my credit card accounts, because there is a lot of fraud now. And it's much easier to check it daily than at the end of the month. Yes. And if there is a problem, you want to nip that right in the bud. So those are a couple things. The other things that you want to think about as a business owner is, what are the terms that you have for paying your vendors? Are you paying them in 15 days when they tell you you don't have to pay them for 30 days? Or can you get longer terms with your vendors? That's going to help your cash. You want to pay your vendors a little further out and then reverse for your customers. If you give your customers longer terms, that's slowing down your cash flow. You want to collect your money right up front, get that money rolling in. And we have a program we work with, and with this little sliding scale on there that will just show you what it does to your cash flow if you get money in 30 days versus 45 days and so forth, and then reverse with the vendors. It's pretty cool to watch. Clients are always amazed. Oh my goodness, look at what happens to my cash flow if my money leaves slower and comes in faster. So those are a couple things to think about The other thing you want to look at is time tracking for a business. How long are you efficient in what you're doing? How long are you taking to do certain tasks? What can you do to be more efficient? Are you doing things manual? Are you doing double the work? There's so much software out there. We don't do a lot of data entry. When I look back to 10 years ago, what my business was versus what it is now, we can spend the time doing the things we like to do as far as analysis goes, because we're not spending a lot of time doing data entry anymore. So as a business owner, think about what could you do more of if you had more time in your day. So keep track of how you spend your time. So those are a few of the areas. It's probably more on that list out there. But those are few of the areas that we talk about as far as money leaks go. Oh, you know what? Another one is job costing or project profitability. So if you are someone who sells by project, think of a contractor, or someone who does big marketing plans, certain service professionals. When you need to know not just the profitability on your whole business, you need to know it per job. If you don't know the profitability per job, how are you going to cost out the next job to make more money?
Right.
How are you going to know if you're losing money on a job? It's nice to know what the whole company makes and costs, but you have to break that down to the job. So that's really critical, especially in construction.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Judith, thank you so much. This has been very helpful. I think these are questions I think everybody's asking themselves right now, and want to point people to your office. You do a lot of virtual. You work with people virtually.
Virtually, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So please give us a plug for what you guys do at JADDE.
So we work with a variety of different small businesses. We do bookkeeping. We do the basic bookkeeping. We do more controllership services and some CFO services. So when we talk about bookkeeping, we're talking about doing their accounts payable. We're talking about doing their accounts receivable. Always the reconciliation. We reconcile all our clients' accounts. More at the higher level services, we're doing the cash flow projections as we spoke about. We do custom KPIs so they can measure different key performance indicators throughout their throughout the month. We look at different trends. We look at the margins that they're making on certain products and services. We have a really cool dashboard where they can have instant access to a lot of this information. But basically, we want our clients to take this information and use it so that they can make good business decisions. And, just keeping up with your bookkeeping so that at the end of the year, you can hit a button and give it to the tax preparer to do a tax return. That's wonderful. But we want our clients to use it every month, look at it, and make business decisions based on it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for being on the Power Lunch today and spending some time with us. We've got Judd Armstrong. We've got Judd Armstrong tomorrow. He is founder of Jaybird, which just sold to Logitech for $95 million. We'll talk about that, of course. Thursday, we've got Mitali Chopra, who is the UK's Coach of the Year, Executive Coach of the Year. So we want to chat with her about coaching and about her process and her what she's working with clients on most right now. And so looking forward to the rest of the week. You guys have a great day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Hi, thanks.